Now that we have all of our pipe networks created, our water lines drafted in, our storm lines drafted in, and our sanitary lines drafted in, along with all our catch basins and fire hydrants and structures, we need to make sure that they don't interfere with each other. And what I mean by interference is a water line going through your sanitary line, or the same water line going through your storm line, or even storm to sanitary. Now, pipes need to be a specific distance apart. Within the city of Calgary, it's about 0.1 meter they like to see of separation. But for this assignment, we're just going to assume that 0 meters is going to be our separation, and they could be touching on the top and the bottom as long as they're not going through each other. Now, by this time, you've created your pipe networks. They're all there. You've tied them into the bottom, and you've ran them roughly around your subdivision. So you've just quickly drafted them in, but you haven't gone as far yet to add them in any pipe rules into them. Now we can look at our profiles, and the one I'm going to be working on is the North Road. So the North Road in our subdivision, just adjusting the pipes on there, I put them all so they interfere and cause issues with each other, and we're going to adjust them from there. So the first things we're going to have to do is create interference checks. Now within your prospector of your tool space, under the pipe networks drop down, under networks, underneath of that, is interference checks. So we're going to have to go ahead and create 3 interference checks. So we're going to go make one, create interference check. Now, if you read your command line, select a part from the first network. So for this one, we're going to compare water to storm. So again, name it what it is, water to storm check. Make sure your network 1 and 2 are the ones you actually selected. Layer for this does not matter. We're going to use our interference style, and we'll go take a quick look at that. So under the view options, again, I'm just testing these settings where it's going to show as a sphere 10 meters in diameter. And again, change your settings in here so you can actually see them pop up. Under the display tab, let's just turn both of those on so we can see them. And you can't change the layer. So we're going to click OK. And under the 3D proximity check, so this is where we can apply a proximity check. So this is where you would input your 0.1 that the City of Calgary requires, but we're just going to leave it at 0. So we're going to click OK, and we're going to click OK. Now give this a minute to run, as it takes a while. We're going to create another interference check. We're going to create it between water and sanitary this time. Leave everything else as default. We'll click OK. So this one has found an issue. And it's highlighted it with a nice big circle for where we have the problem. We're just going to go ahead right now and run the interference check on sanitary to water. Or sorry, sanitary to storm. And this has also found an issue in the same spot. Now that we know there's interference issues here, we can select all our pipes that are running through the area, not the interference check. I'm going to grab the manholes as well so we can see what's going on. The water lines, all the structures, and I'm going to object viewer them. This will give you a pretty good idea of the issues that we're going to be encountering here. So if we zoom in on it and just 3D orbit it a little bit, we see that the water line is going through the sanitary line, and our storm line as well is going through the sanitary line. Now if we were to drop this storm pipe down, so the outlet was just slightly above the inlet to this pipe, our water and storm would also be interfering. But now let's deal with these two interferences here. How are we going to actually fix these? So we're going to close that, and we're going to quickly go to the profile view. So all our pipes, and again for this exercise I placed them all in the same location. You will have interference issues in your drawing. So again, the workflow is the same, but this is how we go to fix them. So as long as your pipe rules are set up correctly, we can start by just matching the rules to the surface if that hasn't happened before. So select the object you want to apply the rule to, right click, we'll apply rules. Now as you see, this has brought the pipe up to 1.2 meters below my existing ground, but it hasn't done that over on this side. So I'm going to add a label to this just so we can see what's going on. Label properties, and you can change the style. So this storm pipe is being run at 1.13%. Let's quickly go check out the rules. So if a pipe is doing something odd, go check out the rules quickly. Pipes, pipe rule sets, storm. So maximum cover, maximum slope, minimum cover, minimum slope. So I'm not sure what it's doing, why it's not matching these properly, but we can adjust a few things here. So we'll select the manhole, we'll apply a rule to it, and all that's really done is brought the bottom of it up. Apply the rules to that one as well. So now our whole pipe is moved. And again, this is a bit of back and forth. If you want to actually match it to 1.2 meters below ground, we can just draw a line here along our surface. And I'm going to offset it by 12. Our profile is exaggerated 10 times. So offsetting it by 12 effectively drops it to 1.2. So now we can manually move this pipe up to where it needs to be. So I'm just going to place that there. Now this one is 1.2 meters underground. And if we measure that, it should confirm that. So between there and there. So 12.16, that's 1.2 meters. Now we'll take this pipe, we'll apply a rule to it and just see what happens. It looks like it's holding the out invert, so we can adjust it up. Let's try it again. Okay, we're going to assume that's, we'll just check that as well. PL, I'm just going to drop a line 12. Make sure my pipe is underneath of it. Now, sanitary and water. So now that we've adjusted the storm, if we go back to our prospector tab, the two interference checks that reference the storm have updated. Now the one manhole that's going to be causing a problem now is this one here. So this manhole coming into the structure needs to be able to flow into this pipe. So to adjust this manhole, we're going to right click, go into structure properties, and here's our three connected pipes. Now by the location of this one, I can tell the invert is the lowest invert of them all. This large outgoing pipe is going to be our middle invert, and the small one at the top is the middle invert. So we're going to match this pipe to the 1015.524 invert, but we're going to raise it up a little bit. So 584, and that's the 0.06 manhole drop. Unless these are different pipe sizes, then you're going to be matching the top of them, but they are both the same pipe size. So we'll click OK. Now this manhole works. Again, start from the bottom of your system when you're doing this. I'm just showing you at the top. So I'm going to select my water pipe. I'm going to right click, apply rules, and it's kept it there. Select that one, apply rules, it's dropped it down. So I'm just going to go quickly look at my water rules here. And I don't need a length check. I left the pipe to pipe match and cover and slope. So 2.7 down, maximum, we'll just change that to 5. Don't care about slopes. So let's try applying rules again. And as you see, this is not a perfect process. So things may have to be adjusted manually. And again, the best way of ensuring that everything is proper, I'm just going to again draw a polyline, and I'm going to drop it 27 this time, so that's 2.7 meters down. So it's looking like it's holding the 2.7 on one side, and it's applying a 0 slope, so that's why we're seeing a flat pipe. So I'm going to bring this obvert up to 2.7. I'm going to bring this obvert up to 2.7. Ensure my entire pipe is at least 2.7 under. So now we need to keep the sanitary away from the water line, and theoretically the water line should be above the sanitary line. So I'm going to just apply rules to this pipe and see what happens. Let's brought it up, apply rules. So now to put the sanitary line under the water line, we have to meet the minimum cover of 2.5 for sanitary, which is less than 2.7, but to keep the sanitary line under the water line, I'm just going to manually put it underneath. Now, conforming to all minimum slopes, and I'm going to add a label to this and we can see what that one is. So we go to the properties, select our label. You can change the label style to pipe plan label profile sanitary. And I'm going to go grab the minimum slope table. So we'll just Google the design guidelines for subdivision servicing, City of Calgary Urban Development publications. Find the design guidelines for subdivision servicing. And I believe it's on about page 176. A little bit farther down. So minimum slopes. Now you're going to be sizing your pipes with the spreadsheet based on, for the storm, the flow area and the URR of 90 liters per second. So whatever flows into each catch basin then flows into the manhole, then you'll size your pipe. The sanitary line, we're going to assume that each lot has 4 houses. So you'll use, or sorry, not each lot has 4 residents. So if you have 150 people or 150 houses in your subdivision, you're going to have 600 people using that sewer pipe. So we'll use those numbers for calculations. Now, sorry, back to the design guidelines. The minimum slope of a 200 sanitary pipe is 0.8%. So this is a little over minimum, so we can drop this down to minimum. It's going to help us go through our system. So again, start at the bottom of your system, the outlets, and work your way into the system to the highest points. So I'm going to go to the pipe properties, and I want to hold the highest point. So that, I believe, is the end invert. No, sorry, that's the start invert of the pipe. And I want to change it to minus 0.8. So if I hit apply now, you saw it brought the left end of the pipe up and kept the right hand side where it should be. We'll click OK. And that is how you change pipe slopes manually. Now, the water and sanitary are separated quite a bit, so if they do overlap in some places, it is generally okay. We just want them to have as much separation as possible all over the place. So now I'm done editing my pipes. It appears that there's going to be no interferences. If there is one, it may be right here. But we're going to rerun these interference checks. So you already have them in there. We do not need to recreate them. So we're going to just right click, rerun interference check. And again, this could take a minute or two on your computers. So sanitary to storm, there's no interference checks. Water to sanitary, there's no interference checks. And water to storm, there's no interferences. So effectively we fixed the interferences in this location, but our job here is still not done. So all those pipe rules that we created before and applied to the actual pipes. So to see where it's being applied in your pipes, and I'll show you structures, we're going to right click on a pipe and go pipe properties. We're going to go into the rules tab, and under the rules tab, these are the rules that are being applied to that pipe. So the storm pipe, we need to have a minimum cover of 1.2. This meets it 100%. Our maximum cover is 1.278. Maximum length, we're only 81.99 out of 185. So that's the rules tab under a pipe. The rules tab under a structure, we'll grab the storm one, structure properties, come into the rules, and here's our rules for our structure. Now, if there's any violations, it will tell you over here. So we'll click OK. Another way you can see if any rules are being violated is within the actual network. So if we click on sanitary, click on pipes, you'll see them down below in the list here. One of our pipes here has a rule being violated, and it looks like it's our manhole 6 to the outlet. So again, just right click pipe properties. We're violating our maximum cover. We're just over 5 meters, so in my opinion, that's not a big deal. We can edit this and make it slightly higher so this rule goes away. But we don't need to worry about the 5.07. Under structures, our statuses are all good. We'll check storms. All our pipes in our storm. We have a couple here now that have rules issues, so we'll right click on them. Pipe properties. Under rules, again our maximum cover is violated, but I had only typed in 3 for that. So technically that's still fine. And I believe this one is still, the last one is going to be the same issue. And that one has gone away. Or no, scroll down. So right click, pipe properties. Maximum cover, so this one says 5. But it's using the water rule set. So beware when you're changing things to make sure we're using the proper rule set. So this is storm. We'll click OK. And actually I'm going to edit that now and change it to 5 meters. So cover and slope, 5 meters deep. And we'll click OK. Sometimes you have to come into pipe properties and just click OK for the rule to be updated. So that should have fixed all our storm issues. Under structures, again you have catch basins, and you'll use your catch basin rules when needed. Under the water, let's just check this one quickly. So we have a whole bunch of violations in here. So minimum cover, minimum cover, minimum cover. Now let's go see what I set up for that. Pipe properties. So I set a minimum cover of 2.7 and this is 2.23. So that is much too shallow. So you'll have to go through, edit the rules, make sure all your pipes are conforming. Now for this exercise I changed a bunch of my pipes so none of them are probably proper conforming anymore. So you'll have to go and adjust your rules, rerun your interference checks, and it's going to be back and forth between your profile, your plan view, your rules, all to accomplish what you need. So just to show you again, places where you can modify your structures and pipes. If we select the structure, right click structure properties, and again, do this as a double check to confirm that the rules are being applied properly as well. We can come into one section here, part properties. So these are of the actual manhole. The connected pipes are of the pipes connected to it. So we have 3 pipes connected in, and if you watch on my plan view over here as I cycle through them, it highlights which one you'll be modifying. So this one here actually has a rule being broken. And this doesn't actually tell you what it is, but I believe it will be a minimum cover one. So you'll have to exit the pipe or structure properties to go into pipe properties to find out. Yeah, it's a minimum cover rule. So back into the structure properties, we can change any of these values. So we can change the inverts, or we can change it based on the obvert or the crown elevation of the pipe. Now this is the top diameter, inside diameter of the pipe. So we have a 600 coming in and a 600 going out. So that's why I made this manhole drop 0.06. This pipe going off to the east, again, this is where my design splits. So part of it flows this way. I'm having all the flow come down and go to the left. And this pipe basically starts from new and goes to the east. So nothing is really flowing into this pipe. So again, we can go to pipe properties and change numbers specific to our pipe alone in here. Same with catch basins. Make sure you select the catch basin. It's again structure properties. We've just treated it, we've displayed a block. It's the same as the manhole. Now the one thing about manhole leads, so the manhole lead is from the catch basin to your manhole. Our catch basin, the outlet pipe is going to be 1.2 meters deep, and this pipe needs to run at 2% into the manhole, and a catch basin lead is 250 millimeter diameter PVC pipe, and that is it. If we were to say have a dual catch basin, so you have two catch basins beside each other, this outcoming pipe will be a 300 in that case. But we don't have any dual catch basins, we just have single, so we'll be connecting them into our manholes that way. Now when you come to places down here, you may have pipes running through your structure that will need to be adjusted. So we're going to have to move catch basins to allow the pipe to go around our manhole. We cannot curve these pipes, they are a straight pipe. And one last thing about your water networks, the fire hydrants go on the same side as the road, same side of the road as your pipe is. So if your water line is on the left like mine, your fire hydrants go on the left. If you've switched the sanitary and water, which is totally okay, your water pipe and fire hydrant will go on the right hand side of the road, because this is where your water line will be. One last thing in the editing pipe networks is renaming your objects. So rename your catch basins, rename your manholes, rename your fire hydrants, name your null structures to show what they're actually going to be. For an example, I'm going to quickly show you my structures all in this area. So I'm going to select my one null structure here. I'm going to go to structure properties, and you can change it in here. So all I've named this is T-1, or you can name it in properties. So if you right click properties, again we'll select it again, we can change the name of it in our properties window. So over here on the left. If I select the manhole, we can see in the properties it's named storm manhole 2. I select my sanitary, I've named it sanitary manhole 2. Now the way I've named my pipes here, this pipe that connects manhole 2 to the manhole over here, manhole 3, I've named this pipe manhole 2 to manhole 3. Now I've gone from upstream location to downstream location when I've named it. Same with the storm, manhole 2 to manhole 3. I'm going to select this null structure in here. I've named it 90-degree bend, effectively number 4. This structure here I've named fire hydrant 1T. My fire hydrant FH-1. Catch basin, this one is named catch basin 2. And this catch basin pipe, the catch basin 2 lead. So naming your structures, naming your pipes, naming them all properly is going to allow you to build these tables much easier. And that is how to deal with interference checks, switch up rules, apply rules to pipes, and naming your structures.